I want to bring in Republican Congressman Bob Dold from Illinois and Democratic Congressman from Louisiana, Cedric Richmond. Good morning to both of you gentlemen. Thank you very much for being with us.
Good morning, Chris.
Congressman Dold, let me start with you. You were one of the House freshmen who had pizza with Speaker Boehner last night. Did you talk about the Gang of Six plan? Could you support it?
Well, we didn't talk about the Gang of Six plan last evening, but what I can tell you about the Gang of Six plan, which is something that I like, is it's talking about big, bold, bipartisan plan. A lot of the details are not out right now about it, but it does talk about $3.7 trillion worth of spending cuts over the next 10 years. It also talks about some tax reform, which I think is critically necessary. It talks about lowering the rate. We've heard about 29%. So again, allowing corporations to be more competitive in the global marketplace. These are the types of things that we want to accomplish, and I think a big, bold, bipartisan plan is one certainly that we're looking for.
Congressman Richmond, is that something you can get on board with?
Well, we're still looking at the plan, and there's some concerns in there, especially when you start talking about reforms to Social Security that would change the amount that our seniors would receive. But I think that the framework and the concept is something that I think the American people want, which is a little give and take on both sides so that we can get past this and go back to talking about the 14 million Americans that are unemployed and looking for work.
And you're nodding your head when he's saying that, Congressman Dold. I'm wondering what you're hearing from your constituents and what their major concerns are when it comes to this tax plan.
Well, what I'm hearing, Chris, is I'm a job creator, right? I'm a small business guy, and it's about jobs in the economy. There's no question about it. Unemployment rate's at 9.2%. In areas of my district back in Illinois, it's as high as 20 to 22%. There's no question we have to be focusing on how do we get these people back to work.
So let
That's
me
going
ask
to be
you
a
very
revenue
specifically
generator
then,
as well.
because one of the concerns some of your fellow Republicans have expressed about this plan is they don't want anything that they perceive as new taxes, and that would include closing tax loopholes and would also include allowing the tax cuts from the Bush era to expire. What's your thought on that?
Well, I think what the Republican plan is, at least one that's been voted on, is talking about eliminating the tax loopholes for the corporations out there. We want to lower that corporate rate, which has been something the president has talked about, something that the debt commission, the Simpson-Bowles debt commission talked about, so that we can, again, compete more competitively on the global marketplace. It also is going to talk about a flatter, fairer tax and broadening the base. These are things that I think are important and things that our constituents are looking for as well.
I also need to point out, if I may, Congressman Richmond, you were the MVP of the congressional baseball game. There has been some suggestion that you were tough on your counterpart there. What happened between you two in that game?
Well, starting around the seventh inning, I guess the heat was getting to me, and I didn't have as much control as I used to have in the first couple of innings. So things kind of got away in that last inning. But I will tell you that we raised a significant amount of money for the Literacy Council and the Boys and Girls Club. And I just want to thank both of those and the Nationals organization for letting us play on a major league field. But that's what makes this country great. We come together in times when we have to make sure that we do things to help the next generation and to help those less fortunate. And that's the type of spirit we're going to need to get through this by August 2nd. And I'm still optimistic. I think the president is bending over backwards to compromise. And I think that the fact that we're still here now and that all of the leaders are still meeting shows what makes America great. And that's that we will rise to the challenge when we have to.
Congressman Cedric Richmond and Bob Dold, thank you both for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.